Good evening, everyone. This is Sharon Price. I'm author and spiritual leader of the Spirit Organization and the Spirit Program. I wanted to do a special Easter message tonight. I think it's very important that I go back to some of the earlier material and posts and things that I was doing post COVID, at the beginning of COVID, to try to help people get through some challenging times. Um, a lot of people are still struggling with a lot of the same things that they were at the beginning of the pandemic. And that's not everyone. But I want to talk about the celebration this weekend. I want to talk about what that means to you, how we connect and why, we had that whole like evolution and awakening back then. Why, Jesus walked the earth to show us how to live without fear, how to live with unconditional love for people that didn't have to earn it. And we still struggle all these years later, and we lose our connection with God. We tend to let circumstances out of our control in the outside world dictate and rule our lives. And we try to prove our worth to people by what we own, what we do, the titles that we have. And at the end of the day, none of those things matter. When you were born into this world, each one of us comes into this world knowing how to love. We come in, just wanting to absorb that. We come in unconditioned. And then we start to grow. And as we start to learn, we learn that our behaviors are not acceptable to certain people. Even as young children, infants on, and then we are having to find out and figure out how to be accepted. When God created you perfect in his image, you don't have to be accepted. You don't have to change to be accepted, I should say. The way you were born and who you are is perfect. And God doesn't make anything that is not. There's no mistakes in his plan. There's no mistakes in how things have turned out. We so want to, as parents, guide our children in a certain direction, even though, they're struggling and trying to go in a different way and they're pulling away and you keep pulling them back and telling them why they should do things a certain way. When each one of us came in this world with our own purpose, well, our own fingerprint, our own blueprint of the way life is supposed to be. And if you think about Jesus's life, he was supported by his parents, at least from what all of us know, what we've been told in all the stories about Jesus. Joseph and Mary were supporting, loving parents, and they knew right away that there was something special and unique about him, and he had a message to come here and give to the world. And he portrayed that message, and he showed us how to love people, even at the very end, and how to trust God and not fear God and not fear anything in this world, knowing that this is not permanent here, but we're here to learn to love, to learn to accept, to learn to trust. And all of those things come from the spirit. They don't come from the ego. They don't come from that part of us. They come from our brain where we've been programmed. And that's why it's so important to me to finish the book that I'm writing, to reset your brain and to reprogram your mind. And it's all about, the conditions that were, handed to us when we were born. And we were put purposely in these situations, in these uh, different families and these soul groups to learn to love, to learn to accept, to learn the lessons that our soul came here to learn in the contract. I call it our soul contract. A lot of people, that, are true, believers of Christ that think that that is the only way that we can get to God, that people that believe in God but and believe in divine and believe in spirit, are somehow condemned, even if they live a life of perfect character, that they have helped and served in any way, that somehow, because they didn't accept that Jesus died on the cross for them, that they're somehow going to be casted away and forgotten. And that is not true. I'm going to tell you it's not. And there may be a lot of people that turn this off tonight, and so be it, because I'm not going to hide what I know to be true. I walk a very, very close walk with God. I believe Jesus did come here and die on the cross. But I believe that there are multiple ways that we learn about God, and we follow different paths, different spiritual paths in order to get to that same place. There was, again, I said this on other videos, other places, if there were all of us listening, were traveling to get to a destination, and we took different paths to get there, we all still end up in the same place. But along that journey, along that path, we all have different experiences. And that's the same way here. But what you own, what you have, the money you make, where you work, the title you carry, any accomplishments and achievements that you've had have nothing to do with God's ability to love you, with who you are. You are still loved by God in the same exact way. We're all loved in the same way. And we're not condemned because we make mistakes. And I don't call them mistakes, I call them errors. If I purposely hurt someone, then I need to seek forgiveness for that. If someone doesn't forgive me, then, and I've asked, there's nothing I can do to change that. But when you do something and you don't know that you're intentionally harming someone or yourself, that's called an error when you do something in learning. But once you know it, then that's a mistake, because you know better, but yet you continue to lie or to steal or to cheat or to hurt someone in order to get ahead in your own life. That's a very selfish characteristic. That is not a characteristic of the spirit. That comes from the ego. It comes from fear. It comes from a fear of lack, that we're not going to have enough. So we have to take something that doesn't belong to us, when all you have to do is ask, and you shall receive. And that's what God says, because there is no lack. And no matter, it doesn't matter where you grew up, how you were raised, what spiritual path you followed, how much money you had, what car you drove, how big your home was, how small your home was. Your worth is the same. Each person, each individual has the same worth to God. He does not see someone as having, you may have come here, and I'm going to just stop right there. You may have come here with a different purpose, to serve a different part of the plan, the greater plan, but not one part of the plan is insignificant. And you're not insignificant, and you're not less than anyone. Everyone is equal. We may not have equal status in this world when someone else tells us we were, but I mean, in this world, according to other people, but it doesn't matter. According to God, we are all equal. There is no difference, no matter what religion you are, what race you are, where you live, and the status and what your name is. That is not what defines you. That's not who you are. You're a child of God. Your spirit has come here to have an experience, a human experience, and your soul will go on beyond that. I say the heart that you have is the heart of your soul. It's not the heart that beats in your chest. And you will continue afterwards. I know that most of you know I'm a spiritual channeler. I'm a translator. I translate messages to people that have lost loved ones. I also came out and did this publicly. I've had this gift. I was born with it. It's from a long line within my family on my mother's side. There are many of us in my family that are gifted. People don't talk about it, and they're not open and public about it because they're afraid they'll be condemned, or someone will say, chastise them, say that, you're crazy, or, whatever else they say, or don't believe it. I'm not here to prove anything to you. I don't have to. I'm here to deliver messages. I consider myself a messenger of God. I walk in a faithful way every day, never intentionally harming anyone, always trying to do my best and to serve in whatever capacity and wherever I work, no matter what title I have, no matter what position I have. And I've been an owner of companies, I've been on an executive team, and I've worked where I've served people, from a restaurant to, working in a fitness facility, to working in a wellness center, to working in a counseling office. And I've had just a smorgasbord of positions. And not one of them did I ever think that I was less than or greater than anyone else. That my whole point of my message is to get you to release the fear and realize the message that Jesus was sending. He trusted God even to the last second. So if you've been given, a certain time, time frame to live because you have a medical condition or chronic condition, and someone has said, this is it, you know, then you start sometimes living your life differently. Nobody knows when that time is. Even if someone else has been given, a certain amount of time, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to outlive them. So don't go through life without living life to the fullest, without accepting who you are, without having to prove your worth to anyone. Your worth is your birthright. You are loved unconditionally. There is no change in the way that God sees you. Um, and people will start throwing things at me like, and I've had it happen the last couple of weeks. Well, there are just people that, have done things that are unforgivable. In your eyes, maybe. In God's eyes, no. So you don't know what they were here to learn and experience. You don't know what path God sent them here to take. He does not send people here intending for them to harm other people and hurt other people. We all have the same free will. If you take away their free will, then it has to take away your free will. And we're all free to choose. And that's why I say to people, especially raising young children, allow your children to have choices, teach them growing up, they have choices in life, even when it starts with simple things from what to wear to what to eat for dinner or what to have for breakfast. So they learn to think and tap into that place where they can make choices and they trust the choices they make and they learn from the choices they make. There are consequences to everything we do and how we behave. But our characteristic is what's important, and the character you leave and the legacy you're leaving, and what kind of message and are you leaving for others, and what, because your life doesn't end here. And I don't say that for people, to end their life here early. You're not supposed to end your life. You have a divine purpose all the way up to the last second and breath you take, just like Jesus did. He knew his life was going to end, but he didn't do something to end it himself. It was done in a horrific way. But he didn't do it again with unforgiveness in his heart, even to the last words he breathed. And how can you think that there could be a story in the Bible where they say that he rose and he is risen and he was seen by people? And how can you believe that there are not others that have that gift, that God gave them the gift to see, to hear, to feel, and to be able to tap into that place? We're all connected to God in a very divine way. I call it the invisible umbilical cord. You are the one that disconnects from God when you're hurt and you're in pain and you've been wounded. And that's, the heart of your soul that gets wounded. Again, not the heart in your chest. And we, become, saddened by the losses we have and the way we're treated and, experiences that, we're not expecting. And those experiences aren't meant to break your spirit. They're meant to strengthen you and to bring your relationship with God closer. They're meant to help you realize that he is there and he is constant and there is no change in the way he feels about you at any time, no matter how anyone else has treated you here, um, as you've walked this earth. God won't change the way he feels about you no matter what you do. He will not leave you. If you go and seek him, he will help you find the peace that you want to find at all times. And he will help you find the open doors. You must take action. You have a free will to do that. We go off path. We all came here to do something very unique. I always talk about books. Now I'm writing right now. I think this is book 20, and I still talk about one of my favorite books of all times. And it's called The Five People You Meet in Heaven. And it's about a gentleman who had a lot of losses, had a lot of heartbreak, thought he was left alone in this world, waiting just for his time to die. He just sat back for years waiting, to go, and couldn't see the divine purpose he had and how many lives he touched and what good he did and how disappointed he was even in himself and the regrets he had. It's never too late to like step up to the plate and accept your birthright and forgive yourself. That's what God wanted us to learn to do. Forgive yourself for anything and anywhere where you fell short. And it is never too late to say you're sorry to someone. I always say I'm sorry if I knew I hurt someone. I never want to leave a bad taste in someone's heart, and or a wound. I should say, a bad taste in someone's mouth, a wound in someone's heart. That's not what I want to do ever. So I'm always looking for ways to improve myself, but never think I'm better than anyone else. I know that we all go through struggles, and I'm not walking your path or in your shoes, but I really thoroughly enjoy being a grief and wellness specialist. That is why I come out. I've seen so many people take advantage of people, so many people take advantage of people grieving that lost loved ones, that irresponsibly tell them things that shouldn't be said. I, for a fact, know that no one can tell you the second that you're leaving this earth. Um, Even people that have tried to take their own life have lived through the experience and never expected to live because they attempted to take their life. Then they were sorry that they even attempted to do that. And I know people personally, that has happened to, even in my own family. And I know that God had a divine purpose. He knows what's going to happen before it happens. But he's the only one that knows that. And no one can give you that exact second in time when your life is going to end. But don't waste it. Don't sit back and constantly grieve things that are gone. Embrace what's in front of you, embrace what's around you, and know that if it's meant to be, and especially if it's a relationship where you love someone, whether that's your sibling, your child, your parent, your grandparent, your pet, that you will see them again. I promise you. I know that for a fact. And when people come to my events, I am able to deliver messages of love to them, that shows and validates exactly what I'm talking about without having any assistance from them. I don't, have to have, that validation from anyone like I used to. People used to say, that's crazy, or, no, that's not true. And then they come back to me later and say, oh my gosh, it was true. There were other people sitting there. I didn't want to say that in front of them. I don't doubt what I hear from the other side. I know people here do things to try to protect themselves. They will tell little white lies. They'll tell big lies. They'll do anything to protect their character. I don't have to do that. I know that I do the best I can every day, and I show up every day. And I love the people that I meet, and I love the people around me. And I offer an unconditional love. That does not mean that I allow certain people still in my life that have harmed me in ways that are just not acceptable to me. And when you love yourself enough, you'll know, that there are things that are unacceptable, that you can forgive someone, but not allow them back in your personal space. And that's okay too. It doesn't mean that, there's nothing wrong with that. And people have a tendency that have a big heart, and that, allow people to have chances over and over again. But, when you know it's wrong and you apologize, but you keep doing the same thing, then you're obviously not taking any steps to change. And sometimes it takes someone walking away in order for someone to change. And I know that God is the one constant that will never walk away, always be there no matter what. Who knows which one of us will be standing at the very end, when, everything is said and done here on this earth, whether that's within your own family, your friendships. But I do know God will stand with you. And that's a fact, and one that I have the strongest unshakable faith anybody could ever have. I said, people don't think sometimes I could even possibly understand, but I've had a magnitude of losses throughout my life. I know they were part of my God training. It wasn't the certification of the piece of paper that I got. It was actually what was presented to me. That's how I wrote The Art of Forgiveness and Self-Healing. I wrote a book called The Gift of Love. And I have this amazing 12-week mind, body, spirit wellness program that transforms your entire life, brings you to emotional, spiritual, physical balance, in a way that makes your life happier and healthier, and your relationships in all areas are improved. But it starts with the relationship that you have with yourself. And that I know Jesus had that trusting, loving relationship to himself, and was always kind, even to take himself in the wilderness for 40 days to get away from people and to have that time to reflect and to be able to rejuvenate. And we all need to be able to understand that need for self-care and for self-love and self-guidance. I really hope and pray that you share my messages with other people. I'm going to continue every time I get the opportunity to come on and talk to people and to help people. And I have a grief healing program. We're getting ready to start at the beginning of May, another 6-week course. You can take it privately if you can't make those times. We also have the 12-week course that is in groups. And we have an amazing retreat here in Maryland. It's a 1-day event that's meant to just inspire you. It's buy one ticket and bring a friend, and it's a whole day of inspiration. You get lunch, you get good company, and you may even make new friends. So go to the website and check it out. You can't forget the name because we've been saying it for years. It's Get Into the Spirit. So the website that you need to get to is www.getintothespirit.org. And that's Get Into the Spirit program. Come to a spirit event, come to a spirit reunion. We have a winner that's going to win $1,000 package where they get all of the things that I've spoken about and so much more from local sponsors here in Maryland. And we do this program in other places as well. I'm not sure how far I'm going to venture out to do those right now, but right now it is here in Maryland, in Frederick, at the Claggett Center on Sunday, April 21st, 2024. We did it on Sunday intentionally because a lot of people have little ones and sometimes they have grandchildren and they have games and other things they do. I know that Sunday is normally a day of rest and a family time, but take this time for yourself. Give yourself this gift and you won't regret it, I promise you. So if you have any questions about it, please send me a message. A lot of my Friday night messages now, because I'm either out doing a live event on Friday or I'm taking my time for myself on the weekend. Some of these are going to be pre-recorded, but they will actually be scheduled for 7 o'clock. So they will come on since we don't have people participating right now at this point. I'm going to record them, and I am taking this weekend to celebrate with my family, enjoy friends, and just have a time to reflect the same way that I'm asking everyone else to do. Enjoy every moment and every memory you create. And even if you lost someone at this time of year and you're missing them, remember that they're always right beside you, a whisper away, and they want you to have fun and love and enjoy your life because it is a very short time here. It seems much longer than it is, but as you get older, you realize that. So those are words of wisdom. I wish you much love, much happiness, and many blessings. And I won't be posting this weekend. I will put up something early Sunday morning, most likely. But I do hope that you share your time with someone. And if you don't have someone to share your time with, and this is a holiday or an event where you're by yourself and you're used to being with family or friends, then do something special for yourself and do something special for yourself anyways, every day. So again, have a great evening, and I'll be talking.